Florida Panthers the last 2 years have had some big wins on this very day. What's up, Florida Panthers Daily? I'm Andrew Sheridan back here with you on Tuesday, May 12th. We'll look back on both of those wins. We'll look at some of the prospects the Panthers might be able to target in the upcoming NHL draft as someone in the front office is shipped up to a different team. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. We'll dive in here a little bit more on Florida Panthers Daily. If it's your first time tuning in with us here, that subscribe button down below. We go every single day, Monday through Friday, and we wouldn't be able to do any of it without you. That subscribe button here on YouTube does us a lot of good. If you leave your comments, we respond to those every time we get them. Usually at the end of the week, we will go through and talk about some of my favorite here on Florida Panthers Daily. If you're new, we do it this day in Florida Panthers history, and that is why I mentioned this day has some good juju going for the Florida Panthers. If you look back just 2 years ago in 2024, the Florida Panthers beat the Boston Bruins 3-2 in Game 4 of the second round. That was to give the Panthers a 3-1 lead. But first, I want to look back 3 years ago in a big closeout game for the Florida Panthers. Who else but Sergei Bobrovsky coming up huge for the Florida Panthers. If you remember, the Panthers were up 3-1 on the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Panthers were able to take Game 3, have a 3-0 lead. The Maple Leafs fought and won Game 4, so that put us here in Game 5 north of the border. They had home ice, and this was a game you don't want to lose if you're the Florida Panthers. Put it away up there. Send their fans home sad, because once you come back home, now the pressure's turned up a little bit. You're playing in front of your home crowd. The nerves are going to be there. Like, if you lose this game, you're going back to a Game 7. So this was a big Game 5 for the Florida Panthers. And this was another game where it looked like, okay, this is when we can finally do it because of that man between the pipes. Sergei Bobrovsky in this one, sure, he gave up 2 goals. Do you remember how many saves he had in this closeout game? Higher. Guess again. Higher. 50 saves Sergei Bobrovsky had in this one on 52 shots from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Another physical overtime game. The Panthers were out hit in this one, 63-49. Panthers had 43 shots of their own. It was Nick Cousins in overtime from Radko Gudas, ending it and ending the Toronto Maple Leafs season. It was a late game, an overtime game, but the Panthers were able to move on against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then against the Boston Bruins just 2 years ago, the Panthers had another chance to close out a series on May 12th. That's why we're looking back on this day in Florida Panthers history. And in 2024, you didn't need Bobrovsky to be that great. Only 18 shots from the Boston Bruins, yet they had a 2-0 lead. And if you remember, the Panthers locked in after that. They went to the dressing room down 2-0, and, well, they didn't look back after that. Lundell would be the only goal in the second period, and then in the third period, Bennett would tie it up on the power play. The start of the period, Barkov would give us the lead a few minutes after that. And if you remember this game, the Bruins had a lot of chances. Sergei Bobrovsky was big when he needed to be. But the defense won this game for the Florida Panthers. Again, this was in the second round. This is when the Panthers are going for back-to-back. So this is when the Panthers are going for their first, going for another Eastern Conference Finals. And you know the style of hockey it takes. And this is a crucial game. You're in Boston in Game 4. After what you did to this team the year before that, coming back from 3-1, you now have the chance to go get a 3-1 lead in Boston, and you're down 2-0. Does this team quit? Does this team put their head down? No. This team said, all right, we're down 2 at the end of 1. Let's go lock in on defense and win this game. And it was so pivotal because you're now coming back home up 3-1, which the Bruins did. The Bruins did get that Game 5. But you now have that wiggle room to lose one at home. You now have a little bit more leeway when you win a game like this. 41 shots to 18 for the Florida Panthers. Had as many shots as they did hits. 41 hits, 41 shots. And if you remember, the Bruins tried to come in and kind of play the same style as the Panthers. They had 12 penalty minutes. So they couldn't do it, just like no one's been able to do it as good as the Florida Panthers over the past few seasons. And that's the reason that a lot of front offices are trying to go get some people from the Panthers front office. We talked about yesterday Braden Birch, before it became official that the New Jersey Devils were going to try and go get him. And, well, they did go and get him. Braden Birch did go to New Jersey. Bill Zito said Great person. When you have success like we've had the past few seasons, as I've mentioned here on Florida Panthers Daily, individuals are going to get opportunities to advance, and it's only a good thing. Good for everyone. We will miss Birchie around here and wish him the best. So obviously it's never ideal when you're losing people in your front office, especially when you actually have to really lock in on the NHL draft for the first time. But like Zito said, like I've said here in the past on Florida Panthers Daily, a winning culture breeds winning success. Other teams are going to try and go copy that because, like I said, in all professional sports, it is a copycat league. The NHL draft is coming up on June 26th, and right now the Panthers hold that 9th overall selection. Of course, they might decide to move that if they want to try and go get another big name, a proven name already that they don't have to rely on bringing up through the farm system. They can just go trade for maybe a Brady Tkachuk. But I think this free agent offseason will be focused a little more on goaltending unless Bobrovsky wants to take a deal. So let's look at who the Panthers might just take at that 9th pick, and we'll continue to look at this. The prospect we're going to focus on today is Tyan Lawrence. He's the Canadian. He's a center from Canada, and he's been in the USHL for a little bit. He's dealt with some injuries, but he's looked dang talented in his time. He played at Boston University. He's had his ups and downs. He put some worries when he was younger at some of his outings in the U18s, the under 18s events and stuff like that. But he is a good prospect that has a lot of upside, and I think that is something that the Panthers will want to go maybe take the chance on if he's still sitting there at that number 9 overall selection. I mean, he played 13 games in the USHL. He just looked so talented. And any worries that he kind of had here in his recent campaign, he's kind of said, okay, look, here's my game when I'm healthy. This is how good I can be. And it wouldn't surprise me if he does go before the Florida Panthers pick at number 8. And then the other prospect that we will look at today for the Florida Panthers is another center, because I think that's what the Panthers will need. And it is from Sweden, Viggo Borgic. He is from Sweden. He's a big center, and he was dominant at the World Juniors. He helped Sweden win the gold at the World Juniors. He had 3 goals and 9 points in 7 games at those juniors. But he's played 42 games in the SHL. He's already got 6 goals and 15 points. The only knock on him might be his height. He is 5'9", which is on the smaller side, but he's got the grit. And you know who that kind of reminds you of? Someone else that's still on this Florida Panthers roster that you might have forgot towards the end of the year, and that is Brad Marchand. Those are the 2 prospects we looked at today as the Panthers lose some people in their front office, but we continue to look forward to the NHL draft, and we'll continue to keep you updated on prospects as we get closer to the June draft coming up next month. But again, the 9th overall selection for the Florida Panthers. So if you want to stay tuned on more prospects coming up into the NHL draft, make sure you subscribe here on Florida Panthers Daily. Leave some comments down below if you think maybe center isn't the route we're going. I believe we're going to be looking for that bottom 6 forward. I don't think Bill Zito is really paying too much attention to the defense right now. You got a lot of guys on team-friendly deals that kind of solidify that Panthers defense that already knows what that championship DNA is all about. So I look to take a 3rd or 4th line contributor, maybe a contributor by the end of the season is what I expect for the Florida Panthers, as other teams are still trying to compete for a Stanley Cup final. Tonight, you got 2 games, both pivotal games, a game 4, between the Sabres and the Canadiens. The Canadiens looking to even up that series, protect their home ice. You know what they always say, series doesn't start till a road team wins. And well, in that series, it couldn't be more true. And then after that, at 9:30 coming up tonight, you have the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks. That series tied 2-2. So that is a pivotal game 5 in that one out west. Last night, or as I'm recording this right now, the Avalanche in the Wild. The Avalanche look to take a 3-1 series lead last night. The place is rocking when I just had the start of it on. I don't know if you can go into that building and steal one, but if there is a team to do it, it is the Avalanche. We'll update you on that game tomorrow on Florida Panthers Daily. But let's look forward to tonight. The Canadiens are favored on the money line, being at home in this one. Again, it's an arena fans want to get into. Lowest ticket to get in to that game tonight in Montreal, $260 some odd. Where in Vegas, $86 is the cheapest ticket to get you in. The Vegas Golden Knights minus 155 against the Anaheim Ducks to take that 3-2 series lead tonight at 9:30. And that is where I am going to go with my best bets here on Florida Panthers Daily on this Tuesday, May 12th, a day that saw the Florida Panthers close out 2 series in the past 3 years. We look this day in Florida Panthers history every single day, Monday through Friday. We're recapping you onto the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we're giving you some ways to make some money, which is tonight, the Las Vegas Golden Knights on the money line. If you're new here on Florida Panthers Daily, tune in tomorrow. Videos drop at 11 a.m. right here on Florida Panthers Daily, part of the Fan Arch community YouTube. Subscribe down below, leave your comments down below, and until tomorrow, let's go Cats.